Aerospace என்னையா இருக்கு?
Hi Kishan.
Hi sir. Can you able to see
Hello.
me, sir?
Yeah, we can.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, the session is on live, and
Okay.
we'll be answering the questions with the students, those who are asking doubts in like YouTube or Facebook. So, and we will request you to answer one by one. Okay. Your connection is good. Your voice is good.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can see me. You can hear me. I
Yes,
can
sir.
see you. I can hear you.
Yes, yes. No issue.
Yeah.
Ma'am, kindly mute the. Yes.
I think we are having people joining us
Yes, sir.
as
They
we
will.
speak. So yeah. So can we give it a minute or two so that everyone can join and then we can start?
Sir, actually, as I said, no, sir, it is in the live. So let the
Oh,
people
okay. So
join
that's okay.
on their
Okay.
own.
They are being passive
So they will
audience.
be
Okay.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need to wait.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
first of all,
okay.
I would like to thank you for accepting our invitation and for just a short intro to our audience and our participations and our students. I would like to introduce you uh, our today's like we will be calling it you as a guest, right? So our guest is from Frost and Sullivan. He is an industrial manager, and his name is Arun Kumar. He is working as like for the past 7 years in the particular field. And thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation to deliver this interactive session. So, first of all, I would like to ask you few things, right? You are having a background of aerospace engineering, right?
Yes, I do.
So how you came into the research analyst field?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Firstly, thanks for considering me for this discussion.
Yes.
Hi everyone. I'm Arun. I'm based out of Chennai. Uh, Thanks for that intro, Kishan. We are living in strange times. Corona times. It's all lockdown. So you see me. I'm at home, working from home, and it's a different atmosphere now. And ever since we got into this lockdown and work from home, it's been a lot of webinars online, and I was quite tired and bored. That's when Kishan reached out to me, and then I realized I don't have to be bored. I can bore others as well, and I agreed. But then thanks for considering me for this discussion. I hope I add value to this discussion. Now, coming to your question, yes, I do have a aerospace background. I did my aeronautical engineering and then did my MBA. And to be honest, when I first got into this role, I've been with Frost and Sullivan for about 7 years now. And when I first got into this role of an analyst, I did not know such a role even existed. I did not know. I knew the consulting industry existed. I knew the aerospace consulting domain, as a vertical also existed, but I really did not know anything about the job title or what we would do in an ongoing basis. That is the fact of it. My previous job was that of a business analyst, and then I was part of a small consulting group. It was a small business. We were about 30 to 50 people, and then most of our clients were across markets, construction, manufacturing, retail, and so on. And that's when, because I come from an aerospace background, and this I think our aerospace friends would relate with me. There's always this dying urge to get into the aerospace field one way or the other,
Yes.
and stay connected to. There are hardly five things that fly. And we are passionate about it, and we would like to stay connected with those things. And it's just incredibly hard finding a relevant role
Yes.
in the aerospace industry. So I was no different from that perspective, and I
Okay.
did not know about this. But then I think I made a decision of, okay, I need to do something to get into this domain. I did not know. So my approach was that in one direction I was going after aerospace roles. I was just applying, looking at the job ads and so on. But in the other direction, I realized if there is a role that is relevant to me, then I need to let that get to me. So I wanted to make myself visible, and then I have a blog. I write those blogs, and I was spending my time writing articles on my blog, and then I included those links in my resume. And as it turns out, it was one of my articles in the resume that caught the recruiting manager's attention, and that's how I got that first interview with this business. And even during the interview, most of the discussion, the initial discussion, was around what I had written on my blog. I did not know this would work out, but at that time I did not have any proven method to get that interview. All I had in mind was, I'm going after some jobs, I'm not getting a response. I need to make myself visible so that if there is a job, that can get to me.
Okay.
And as it turns out, it worked. So
Okay.
that's how I got into this. That is the fact of it. Did I
Okay.
answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's and one more question they have asked in which sector Frost and Sullivan company is focusing. In which sector they are focusing actually?
We are a consulting firm. We would call, we would like to call ourselves a growth pipeline, growth partnership firm. We work across sectors, and we have multiple business units. We work across all major industries, and I am part of the aerospace, defense, and security business unit.
Okay. Okay. So another one question was there. What is your job role and responsibilities in Frost and Sullivan as an aerospace analyst?
Okay. My initial role when I joined 6 years back, I joined as a defense analyst, and as an analyst, what we basically do on a daily basis is one or more markets are allocated to us,
Okay.
and then we keep tracking those markets. When I say tracking those markets, we keep an eye out for who are the key players in the market, what are they doing, how is their business going on, what are they selling, what new products they are making, what are the new developments happening in the market. And then we keep track of the markets, and then write and publish research reports
Okay.
about those markets from
Okay.
various aspects. This is something we do in an ongoing basis,
Okay.
but a lot of our time goes into consulting, when, based on what we write in our research reports, our clients come back to us with some deep dive questions. And
Okay.
then they would have questions towards largely around investment decisions,
Okay.
towards developing new products or entering a new market.
Okay.
Essentially looking at, when we go down to the detail of it, then it's about selling more of what they already have, and
Okay.
about creating new products and selling those into new markets and so on. So we help them find answers to these questions. So that's
Okay.
what we do.
Okay. Can you give an example like unconfidential projects what you have done, like basic things
Yeah,
what you
absolutely,
have done? Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think after, I think from 2014, we within Frost and Sullivan, we started our, relaunched our space program, and I'm, the lead analyst on the space program as of now. And we created a niche for ourselves, and we started focusing on the small satellite markets early on. And we now have a broader coverage of the space industry, but initially when we started, it was just the small satellite markets. And then that kind of created our initial identity within the domain. And one of the projects that I would like to quote, it is in public domain, is there is this UK space agency, and the UK government has officially decided to enable its local space industry. So it ends up capturing 10-20% in the next 5 to 10 years and so on. And as part of that, the agency was trying to assess the market opportunity for the launch services segment.
Okay.
and then they hired us to do the business case analysis. And the business case analysis is in the public domain. You can Google Frost and Sullivan UK Space Agency, and you will see that article. That is a small portion of our entire work. A lot of what we delivered is confidential. I cannot talk about that. But
Yeah, yeah.
then what our client has released is online, so you can definitely have a look at it, and that will give you a picture of what essentially we deliver to that client. And our work was largely towards getting an understanding of what the launch market is, what is the new segment that is evolving, what are the key demand that is driving the market, who are the new players who are bringing in that demand, and how big is that opportunity, and what is required for these new players to really make money out of that opportunity, and should that become a market, how should a space agency approach that from a spaceport based business model perspective. And then that's what we have covered there.
Okay. Another question from Nalaya Tamilan. Which course will help us to become an aerospace analyst?
Uh, I don't think there is any standard formula for definition of an analyst. I think we need to set the record straight there. And this is a very common question.
Yes.
It's not just this. So thanks for bringing that up. The thing is, if as an analyst, I'm not entirely technical. I don't necessarily develop the systems. But as an analyst, I'm not entirely commercial. I don't sell those systems as well. But I'm not entirely anything. But as it turns out, depending on the project requirements, I'm supposed to be pretty much everything. Depending on this, so if the project deals with the end users or the client side members, stakeholders, if they are salespeople, if they are the business development group, then their focus will be more towards where are my customers, who has the money, how can I connect with them, and how can I solve their problems. So we need to think like a salesman. But if our client side stakeholders are R&D scientists, then they are talking about, here's a patent that we have, here's a technology that we have frozen, now we need to invest and make a product out of it. Should this be a component, a subsystem, a full solution, or a service? Should we go after the commercial market or the military market, or both? So depending on the stakeholder group, their objectives are different, and depending on the client objectives, we will have to make ourselves, essentially put ourselves in their shoe and think on their behalf. So there is no standard definition of this is an analyst and this is what you do. That's not how the consulting industry works as such. And within Aero, and as from a qualification perspective, within our team we have a very broad range of experience. We have all the way from war veterans, people with extensive defense experience, who are the senior members within our business unit, and then we have people like me, and then from very different backgrounds. There's no standard say you need this certificate, you need this degree to be able to do that. As long as you can understand that market, you can understand that technology, and understand the business around that technology, then you are pretty much set to get started. I think it's about having that right perspective. But from a qualification perspective, I wouldn't call that a basic requirement, but then aerospace engineering, if you have that aerospace tag, then you would naturally be considered for an aerospace role initially, but then that doesn't mean you are stuck with aerospace. It's not that. We have people from very different backgrounds within our business unit who are experts in some specific aerospace market segments.
Okay. Uh, Another one question like from Sai Sandra Mauli. Tell what to do after gate aerospace. Like if they are writing about
I,
gate exam, huh?
okay,
After
okay.
what to do after gate exam.
Yeah, I remember writing that exam. I think
Hmm.
it didn't work out entirely in my favor. I cleared the exam, but I don't think I joined any institute after that. Uh, the question is, what should they do after that exam? Is that the question?
Yes, yes, yes.
Uh, to be honest, I am not very closely attached with that side of the academics as of now. So, please take my response with a grain of salt. You need to verify the details of what I'm going to say, but from my perspective, I think that exam is used for applying for other master courses, master degrees in other institutes. So depending upon your score, I think you would apply and then you would be invited for further interview and assessment, and then you would go there, because that's what I remember doing. After the GATE exam, I applied. I think I went to Bangalore. We had this big assessment in IISc Bangalore, and I failed that. That's a different story. But then uh, so I think that is the process. But then what I don't understand is how has that process evolved. What I'm talking about is like more than a decade ago. I don't know what that process is right now. But if my assumption is correct, you essentially use your GATE score, apply to that institutes, and see what course becomes available where you get the seat, and then you take it from there. But I'm not sure if I have answered the question correctly. Have I answered that question?
Yes, yes. Actually,
Mm,
now it is correct only. The scenario was correct only.
mm.
But some industries also coming up with gate score. They are recruiting engineers with the grade score itself now.
Okay, I'm surprised to hear that
Yes,
that companies are using exam scores as a reference.
yes.
That is just odd to me. But then I'm hearing it for the first time that
Okay,
they're
okay.
using GATE score. I've never heard GATE score being used as a reference.
Yes. Some
I,
reputed companies are
Mhm,
doing. Not everyone. Some
mhm,
reputed companies are doing.
mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
So
okay.
next question was like how you attained the industrial manager position.
Uh, the industry manager rank, I joined the business as a research analyst, and every company has its own hierarchy, and then over time your role evolves. You go from one role to the other. So
Hmm.
within our business, my travel so far is I joined as a research analyst, then I became a senior research analyst, then I was a team leader,
Hmm.
and then I'm now a industry manager. So uh, it's just natural career progression. And until I got into these roles, I did not know these roles existed. That's every business has its
Okay.
own name tags.
Yes.
Even within our business, we'll have a name tag called consulting analyst, and that's about it. Then the name sounds odd, but then if you meet that consulting analyst in person, they would be a very senior person with a very strong experience.
Yes.
But then that's how. But I'm not sure if I understood the question correctly. Are they? Is that question targeted towards how that rank, how we achieve that rank, or how we
How you
get into this role? Is
you attend like what are the procedures or step by step development skills you have developed to attend that role.
as an analyst, I'm supposed to keep track of markets. I need to understand the technology and business side of things, and the key expectation from me is that I should be able to answer technology and business related questions at any given time. If something new is happening, there's always a so what analysis around it. What does this mean? So you pick any technology. The system designer would think in one way. Okay,
Hmm.
the hardware integrator, the one who builds that system, will think in another way. uh, the one who sells that system will think in a very different way. The
Yes.
one who buys that system will think in a way. The one who uses it will think in a way.
Yes. Yes.
The
Yes.
one who
Yes.
maintains, throughout the value chain, every stakeholder has a different view. I'm supposed to uh, have a capture of all of those,
Okay.
and for that we have this practice, what we call as primary research, and then we reach out to different stakeholders in the market and we have conversations with them,
Okay.
like we are doing right now. And then
Okay.
I would ask them question like, hey, you are an avionics engineer. What is the big problem that you are facing when you work with your avionics maintenance program, and what are the key challenges that you are facing.
Okay.
What are some product aspects that you find interesting? What do you think the system should do more? And then I keep collecting those requirements from conversations with these stakeholders, and
Okay.
we build that whole story around that technology. So here's how it is evolving. Here's what the developers think. Here's what the users think. And at this point, this is the total market size. I'm expected to be in a position to answer those questions.
Okay.
So being in that market, observing, having those conversations, and always holding an understanding of what it is, how it is impacting, how more can it impact, and how is it going to create opportunities for every stakeholder group. Having that perspective, it would be a key requirement.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Another one question from again Nalay Tamilan. Doing masters in aerospace, especially in abroad, will it be worth or not?
I think, in general, going to a different country and getting an education there would be a valuable experience. I don't have any doubts there. But should a technical degree versus a business degree, there are different schools of thought there. I don't see. It really depends on how and where we expect to fit in the value chain. Again, there's no standard formula there. It all comes down to what we like to do, and then uh, that should essentially tell us what do I need more to be able to do that from a qualification perspective, and then take it from there. But in terms of a international degree, yes, that will definitely help. More than the subject knowledge side, I think us getting exposed to a different culture, we meet new people. It's a very different world out there, so we get a perspective, very different perspective. Things change for good once you go out of the country and then you come back. So that experience is definitely valuable. Uh, but did I answer the question?
Yes, yes, no
Okay.
issue. Like again, Vaidan Trivedi, he is asking about the same what were the skills that helped you to most to build your career. Like as you answered earlier also.
uh, yeah, so from a research and analysis perspective, I think uh, it's about having the right perspective and being aware of things
Hmm.
to get started. So coming from a technical background, until I got into those MBA classrooms, I did not know those things even existed,
Okay.
because I never got a chance to hear those terms, and some things just seemed like fantasy to me. Like, really, you guys talk about this all day, and that's when I realized, okay, there's a whole new world out there that I haven't been introduced to. And it is the case at any given time. But then, coming from a technical background, into this role, research and analysis domain, I would say, having a good understanding of the business side of things is very much required.
Okay.
And but I lost my thought. Can you repeat that question once again, please?
Again, the like 1 minute, sir. What were the skills that helped you the most to build
Mhm.
your career?
Mhm. Um, I, to be honest, I really did not decide on, okay, these are the skills I am going to do. I just followed what I found interesting. Uh, uh, so, in general, I tend to be curious. I tend to ask the question why, and I tend to debate things. And I think that side of my personality kind of helped me get around this role, because I'm always curious. I like to ask so many questions, and someone tells me something, I'm not going to agree that just for the sake of it. And I'm going to verify somewhere else. I'm going to ask questions to understand better. And so, investigating things, you hear something that is, one view of it. You need to hear the same thing from different people, and then you would realize the same view varies across the board. And then being aware of this variability, is a key thing. So that means I'm not going to get stuck with a formula for anything. So there's no such thing as standard. And I think being curious is one thing. The other part is, depending on which domain we are working in, we need
Hmm.
to develop the skills from a technical side and also from a functional side. Like I said, for research and analysis, we do what we call primary research, speak with stakeholders. So you need to be in a position to have relevant conversations.
Okay.
You speak with the avionics maintenance engineer. You can't be talking about airline ticket prices.
Yes.
They might know about it, but then that's not what they do. So they might not be talking much about it. They might not even be interested about it. they,
Yes.
they are focused on maintenance. You talk to a system developer,
Mm.
they are more focused on design and manufacturing,
Okay.
not necessarily stock markets.
Okay.
So having a relevant conversation,
Mm.
within consulting, we always tell each other that we are really in the communications business. So being able to have a relevant conversation
Okay.
and putting things in perspective, I think that would be a key skill, to roll in this analysis, research and analysis domain.
Okay. Another one question from Nalay Tamlan. Sir, in MBA, which stream you have been selected? Like in your campus?
Uh, okay, that's again an interesting question. I came to know about this only a few years ago. I did my MBA in the US. So the university there, and until then, I did not know anything about MBA. So the only MBA I know was what my university taught me. Specialization is an option. So as an MBA student, I'm talking Mississippi State University College of Business, and they make you go through all areas. So that would be your MBA, and then you would have an option of, say, taking a minor where you would specialize. You can choose marketing, finance, and so on. Only when I came back here, everyone was asking like, "Are you MBA marketing? Are you MBA finance?" I did not know that kind of MBAs even existed until then. So MBA is MBA. The best way to approach that is you need to be aware of everything. You can have the greatest set of engineers, but you don't have a building to house them in. You don't have an office there, so everything is required for a business to run. So I don't know if picking one stream in MBA is really a logical way of approaching that. I'm not sure how the programs are designed here. I sincerely hope they cover all aspects of it, and then the specialization is an option or an additional coverage. So when someone does an MBA finance, I'm presuming they do everything within MBA and then do a little bit more on finance. If that is not the case, I'm not really sure how to decide on that MBA. I would really suggest pick an MBA program where you get to study all of it. That's what the business world needs. You can specialize, because until you get into that program, it's hard to decide what's your favorite area. You need to be exposed to all those areas. One might like finance, the other person might like marketing, and so on. Someone would like HR, and you can't decide until you get exposed to that thing. So I would really suggest pick an MBA program that lets you go through all these avenues, and then allows you to do a specialization, based on your interest. That would be my suggestion.
Okay. And another one question from Vedant. So, according to you, what do you want to say about the progress of that aerospace industry has made in last few years regarding space travel and exploration as well as the astrophysical research? I didn't get the question
Uh,
actually. What do you want to say? What do you want to say about the progress? What is happening in the aerospace industry?
Okay, now the astrophysics research part, I have to say I'm not entirely aware of that side of things.
Hmm.
But from a space exploration standpoint, I think about a year ago we did write and publish a report on space flight market outlook, and then we were looking at all the missions that happened or were about to happen
Okay.
in that year. And as it turns out, uh, that list had about 7 deep space missions. We are
Okay.
talking space missions going on either side of Earth. Like one mission to the sun. I think that's a suicidal mission, but it's about capturing the data there. So
Yes, yes, yes.
I hope the craft is still alive. But then one mission was towards the Earth, one was towards Mercury, and then we have these lunar missions, the Mars mission, and one, I think all the way up to Pluto or something. Apart from this, there
Jupiter,
were,
yes.
I think, 2 or 3 asteroid mining missions, and that really is the biggest disruption happening right now. Uh, you know, I think we have realized that there are so many, planets and asteroids with a lot of mineral deposits. We are not entirely sure if those minerals can be of value to us. So the only way we can, and if they are value to us, we don't have to destroy our Earth trying to mine everything out of our Earth. If we can mine it from somewhere else and use it for our, say, energy production or for any other purpose, then that would definitely be a great opportunity. But we need to confirm if that mineral is of value, and for that we need to go there, get the mineral and come back. Now the space industry as such is yet to realize a reliable format of space logistics, because the key thing for that is the ability to go deep into space and go wherever we want to and then come back safely, and do that in a reliable repeated format, so to get to a state where, hey, we can go as far as we want and then we can come back safely, and in that process we can also bring some material from those areas. So at least 2 asteroid mining missions where we covered there, and that really told us that the space exploration projects are evolving. They are now focusing on establishing reliable space logistics, so
Yeah.
we need to get wherever we want and come back safely with some material.
Yes.
It really depends on what material we bring back, and we need to test that and see. And that's what would establish the business case of, hey, we found this mineral, this is, say, comparable to, say, uranium, plutonium, or whatever, and then we can use this for power production here. Then we would have a demand there, and we can definitely have much more investment going in. But
Yes.
we are noticing government and commercial space agencies actively participating. So that's a key and interesting development that we are observing within the space exploration side.
Okay. And another one question, like if we are pursuing BTech in mechanical, what are the ways to have in future aerospace perspective? If he is a
Well,
mechanical.
okay. Uh, thanks for that question. This is something that all of us with the aerospace tag, we have this big problem. At least more than a decade ago when I was in college. So
Of course, same. Still no, still
yeah,
no.
with mechanical degree, you stand a better chance of getting a job in aerospace
Aerospace.
than the ones with aeronautical degrees.
Aeronautical, yes.
So they would advertise like 400 posts. There are only 40 posts for aeronautical. Like 360 posts will be for mechanical, civil, and like we'll be like, well, what is happening? Like we are here with, like, at least this role is for, you can be a civil, mechanical, aeronautical. When you put a broad based approach, okay,
Yes.
everyone can apply and then it makes sense. But then and this will be from a big aerospace organization, like 3/4 of the positions they hire for will be for non-aeronautical degree holders. So with mechanical, you definitely stand a better chance.
Yes.
And it's a very positive version of envy that we have for them.
Yes.
But
Yes.
otherwise, I think uh, looking back, comparing what was 10 years ago and now, I think the situation has improved a bit. But I won't say, I won't compare the aerospace industry with that of the IT industry. That's just huge.
Okay.
We're talking hundreds of companies, and if we have hundreds of roles in aerospace industry in a year, that itself is a surprise. We need to be happy about that. But I think with a lot of foreign companies coming in and having collaborative projects here, I would presume it is creating more opportunities.
Okay.
But I don't think, given the current situation, the degree title has very little to do with us establishing a match with the role. Apart from this systemic bias that I pointed out, I'm not sure if that exists even now. But back
Now,
then,
same. It is
okay,
existing.
it's the same. Okay, okay,
Yes.
okay. But have I answered the question?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Every
Yeah.
aerospace engineer knows the situation, and they know the answer also. Yes, sir.
Hey,
Uh,
but guys, please don't lose your heart. Someday
yes, that's what I will tell.
someday we will have, no, I'm going in a very different direction here. Someday we will have so many people thinking like us, in the top positions where we will make sure aeronautical degree holders are also treated equally. Don't worry
Yes,
about that, I
yes,
promise
yes,
you.
yes.
We need to
Okay.
be in the game and be patient about it.
Yes, yes, yes. We will be, surely we will be. Sir, another one question like, what are the software tools one should know to become an aerospace analyst? Any particular software tools?
Yeah, there's no specific ones. Within our job, we recently started using Tableau, and
What is that
I myself
Tableau?
am not a
What is the Tableau?
uh,
No, it is for, it is
Tableau.
used.
Tableau. I think it's a online platform. It's a data analytics tool,
Okay.
and essentially, when you have a large set of data, it helps you to cut and slice and come up with interactive display
Okay.
comparative methods, which otherwise using Excel would be time consuming. So it's more user friendly, and you can work with it. Let's
Okay.
say it's a advanced version of Excel, so to speak.
Okay.
So we are now getting started with that,
Hmm.
but most of what we do is still in Excel.
Okay.
From a data analytics perspective, any data analytics tool that you can get trained on will definitely help.
Okay.
More than the tool, the key objective, it could be any tool, not just Tableau. The objective should be to gain that perspective. There are charts work very different ways. Some charts are there to just present what the market looks like. Some
Yes, yes,
charts
yes.
will be used for financial decision making. You need to decide what happens to the data, and how you establish that relevance,
Okay.
and based on that you will decide how will you use the tool to bring that output. So
Okay.
more than the tool, it's about understanding the algorithm behind such data analysis. That would be, but then when you get trained on a data analytics tool, I think it will give you an opportunity to also train on the algorithm side of things. But my
Okay.
suggestion, focus more on the algorithm. These tools keep changing. Today they
Okay.
will say one, 6 months down the line they'll say something else. These
Okay.
things keep changing.
Okay. Okay. And another one is like, if from our students' point of view, like if they want to do any collaborative project with your company, okay. So which type of project we can work?
Collaborative projects, I'm not sure how that would materialize, but simply because I'm not the key decision maker in that regard. My superiors would be making those calls, because most
Okay.
of do we do collaborative projects? Absolutely, but then a lot of our collaborative projects are with our clients and
Yes.
industry participants.
Hmm.
But our interaction with the academic side and students so far largely has been the internship program, where we hire
Yes.
interns and we engage them on our projects.
Yes.
And a lot of interns have turned out to be our full-time employees as well. So
Yes.
my email is arunyes@frost.com, aruns
Hmm.
at frost.com. So feel free to send me your resume. I can forward it to the HR department. When
Okay.
such an opportunity comes, they will definitely reach out to you.
Yeah,
So
they have asked.
that's no
The
problem
next
there.
question was that only. Is there any internship
Mhm.
available for yours, our students in
Um,
our community?
we do have an internship program as such, but then every practice area will have its own requirement. So
Okay.
there's no standard list of intern roles that I'm aware of.
Hmm.
But I would really suggest, feel free to send me your resume, and then I will forward it, and then HR essentially would sit on that resume database, and
Okay.
then we will, they will reach out to them when those opportunities arise.
Okay. Okay. That's okay. Uh, and another one is like, what are the other sectors in which our aerospace student can work in Frost and Sullivan?
There are different business units within Frost and Sullivan, and I
Hmm.
think uh, you know it's a big catalog, so to speak. We pretty much operate across all major industries.
Okay.
Not just aerospace defense.
Hmm.
We have the it's a big catalog. Please visit our website and you will know about it. But in terms of being able to work across other verticals, that is something we would definitely value. And during our conversations with the candidates, this is something we do discuss.
Okay.
and you might have one kind of degree, you might have one kind of profile, but then if your skill set and experience match the requirements of a different program, then we would definitely consider you for those roles. So uh, you know, there's no again standard formula that you have this degree, this is the only thing you can work. That's not how the consulting industry works.
Okay.
So
One of the
but
like listener, Ayush, he's an aeronautical BTech and he has prepared for defense, but he couldn't
Mhm.
able to get the job. Now his age is 27-year old. So right now, what is the choice for him? He is asking like that.
That is an interesting question. So I'm trying to recall how old I was when I joined this business. I think I was about the same age, if I'm
Okay.
not wrong.
Hmm.
I was about the same age, maybe a year or two younger, but then it was in 2013.
Okay.
I'm now 35, so you do the math. I think age is not really a hurdle there, but then it's about you might be a graduate in some degrees. Within our team we have people from very different backgrounds. People
Hmm.
who started their first job was in hospitality, hotel management. They are now here, so
Okay.
you can always progress. So there's nothing that is going to stop you there.
Hmm.
You might have one particular degree background, educational background. You might get an early job. Whichever get comes to you, you need to
Yes.
get by until you get the job
Actually,
of your
our
choice.
there is one perspective with our aerospace engineer also, engineering
Hmm.
community. Like they will think that they are not eligible for mechanical jobs. Actually, that is one of
Uh,
the
Nothing like that. Nothing like
yes,
that.
yes,
I used to think the same way,
yes,
so I can definitely relate to them.
yes.
So the fact is that is not the case.
Hmm.
What you have on your resume is not going to prevent you from getting into any other role, but then
Yes,
your resume definitely is going to catch the attention. So make sure
yes,
whatever you're interested about, you
hmm.
make a mention of it, but then try doing something in that regard and document it. Like
Yes,
when I decided I wanted to go get into the aerospace consulting side, I did not even know the term research analyst, because
hmm.
on my previous role I was a business analyst.
Okay,
And I did not know these things existed, but then I decided I'm going to do this, and then I started writing on my blog,
okay,
and it worked for me. So that's what I'm suggesting everyone,
okay,
because that's what these days companies expect. Also, they would like to discuss with candidates using some of their recent work samples. So if you are passionate about something, start writing about it. Make videos about it. These days you have the
yes,
tools, and a lot of them are free, and have a lot of those content out there, and then put that in your resume. So when someone reads your resume, they also get a chance to read your content, so they can
yes,
better
yes,
understand.
yes,
So
yes,
because initially, especially when you don't have that years of experience to put on that resume,
yes.
you don't have to feel that is a handicap.
Okay,
But then create your own work samples there, and put that out.
okay. So another one is from Neha, and I have completed my BTech in aeronautical engineering. What are the skills I need to build in myself to get? I learned CAD software, Naston pattern, CFD, but still not getting any opportunity.
Okay, so when I was in college, some of my seniors came to our college, and then we all flocked around, like grouped around them, because they were like in the industry, and we were asking them, how did you get that job? What did you do? And at that time they were saying, you need to learn software packages called ProE, CATIA, and those are really required. And all of us took that, and there's a host of commercial softwares out there that do a whole lot of things. And I also picked up one such software based on that suggestion. Me and my friends, all the softwares that we did, I don't think any one of us is using that software on
Right
our
now.
jobs today.
Yes.
Okay, as some of them who did like CFD, like ANSYS, and like 2 3 softwares, they are now holding some really good positions in Infosys. they are in the IT industry. It's
Yes.
been years they have never touched that. So you know, this whole mindset of you need to know this software to get this job, I don't think that is logical, that is really substantiated. If it is really that engineering analysis role that requires that tool knowledge, that is the only area where having an understanding of that tool becomes eligible. And so some of my friends, one of my friend has a software institute that he really teaches this. He worked with HCL for a few years, and he was, I think he's a hypermesh expert, if I'm not wrong. So he worked across these ANSYS, CATIA kind of products, and then after a few years, he realized there is this big disconnect between what is taught in the college and what they did in their offices. And then he set up this institute, and he has now trained hundreds of students. And his view is that it's not a case of just picking that name, like is it Katia or Proe, which is good. No, no, don't approach it that way. You need to have a understanding of one modeling software, one analysis software. It could be anything,
Yes.
because in the end these things keep changing over time. If your client is on SolidWorks, you could be a Katia expert. It's of no use. You have to be working on SolidWorks there. So
Yes.
you really need that adaptability. So it's about you understanding modeling as a skill, rather than, because you can be anyone. When you click that button, the software does the same. When I
Yes.
click
Yes.
that button, the software does the same.
Yes.
Okay, but then what we
Imagination.
have
Yes.
what we
Yes.
have in our thought,
Yes.
that really matters there. So I
Yes.
think
Yes.
I'm essentially transferring what my friend would always suggest his
Yes.
students. It's
Okay.
about you getting a grip around modeling and analysis, and you need to be talking in simpler terms, where you can say, I can model a component, I can analyze it, and I can tell
Okay.
when that model will break. I
Yes.
can tell how much heat that model can take.
Sure.
I
Sure.
can tell how will air flow around it.
Hmm.
If you are not able to do that, and if you are going to use linear progression, linear analysis, that kind of terms, when you cannot make it easy to understand for the other person, then I would really say you haven't got your head around it completely,
Hmm.
and you need to do that work. Hope I answered that question.
Yes, I will also answer for that particularly, because many people are asking the same question: how I will get job? I am have studied my age is 27 and I have learned the softwares also. If you are free, right now, if you are in the home, maybe everyone is in the home only, so you can find like through online jobs. Like there are freelancing websites are available. So many people will be requesting, they may not run companies, they may be having a small projects. So if the student is student are like those who are unemployed, they can go into the freelancing sector. They can see what are the projects available in the in like small projects. They can take according to their software knowledge. Like Neha Singh has told that she is familiar with cat software. She can look into the freelancing websites. So there will be small small projects or company projects or individual projects. Some people will put the research projects also. So they can she can go into that. She can try to get one small project initially. So she can maybe she can do it for free. Then the company will start to company or any individual like individual people, those who are doing in the project, they can hire her directly. So that's what I will suggest to Nega Sinha, and same will goes to Ayush also. He has also
Yeah.
asked the
So
same.
yeah,
Yes.
thanks for that. I agree with you, and I have something to add to that. When I
Yes.
was looking for a job, I had the same feeling. There are so many companies, there are so many advertisements. I keep submitting my resume.
Hmm.
I'm not getting a call,
Yes.
and after weeks of submissions, I get one or two calls, and then I realize I have no idea what they're talking about. What they're asking me, do you know this? Have you done this? Like, I'm like, I'm a graduate. I don't have an experience. What are you talking about? And it was a big surprise to me that I wasn't able to fit, because I did not know this connect between what's on the job description, what the recruiter will be looking for, and what I need to put on the resume back then. But it's really a paradox. So when I was looking for a job, uh, I was observing so many jobs, but nothing that considered me a fit. Now, after getting into the job market, now that I have a job, and excuse me, over time, my responsibilities included team building, recruiting, and so on. When I was looking to hire, I had a very different experience where I have a job description and nobody was fitting that. And I always have this conversation with my HR colleagues when we sit down and work for recruitment process, that hey, when I was looking for a job, I didn't find a job. When I'm looking for a teammate, I'm not finding a teammate. Because and it's like, it can't be true. That's what I would always say. Like, how can that be possible? There are so many people out there. We need to establish that connect, and I think there is a huge disconnect between what we put on resume, what we plan and prepare for, and what the jobs expect from us. I
Yes.
think we need to get a better understanding of that. I would say, to be fair, the job descriptions need to become a bit more human. They need to become a lot more simpler that everyone can understand, especially for junior roles,
Actually,
entry level roles.
most of the aerospace engineers, right? So they don't know what are the job roles available itself. Like because
Mhm.
you may have studied in in 2010 and all, mostly in our nation, right? So they will be having a BTech who has completed last year. He will be taking the class, right?
Mhm.
Yes. So that type of scenario we were in at the time 10 years before. So now the current situation that is also follows the same, because the aerospace engineers, they don't know about their job roles. What are the available job roles, especially in the particular aerospace field. So as like we are trying to find, as a faculty, I am trying to do that. That's why I have invited you for this lecture also. So we will find
Sure.
out what are the opportunities available for especially in the aerospace field. We are not going into other particular field. So, and another question from Punit Singh. He is an aircraft mechanic engineer, AME,
Okay.
maintenance engineer. So he is asking about how my maintenance experience will be considered in core development jobs.
Uh, I think I'm not the expert to answer that, but I'm going to answer that based on what I know. Now, from a consulting angle, for a research and analysis role, people with any background, they are welcome. The key requirement is you need to be in a position to discuss the technical and non-technical aspects of it. As long as you can do that, then you already fit there. But from a core system development part, I think that part of that industry is still yet to evolve. There's a big disconnect. The system developers are system developers. A lot of times, the information or the requirements from the all the end user stakeholder groups doesn't necessarily reach them, and that's where we consultants fit in the value chain as well. That's basically what we do. When someone decides to design a system, they need to better understand their customer, their user, and then we help them understand that. But then coming from an AME background and trying to become a engineer to build systems, I think because AMEs, by default they are going to work with the full finished systems. I think they stand strong in terms of getting into those roles, but that perspective is not very common and popular in the industry. I think we need that disruption to happen, and to be honest, we need some AMEs who can any industry will only grow when the specialist in that industry get trained
Yes,
in it
yes,
and then
yes,
invest back in that industry.
yes, yes,
So we need some case studies, some examples of AMEs uh, doing that and setting examples. So that's I would really request them to, you have this objective, you are very much close to that. I would really suggest you go and set an example from that perspective. But in terms of a system designer role, I think I'm not entirely sure how a AME profile alone will qualify you for that. I think it needs a bit more than that.
okay. Okay. So another question is like I think this is the final question we will be having. Like from I am a, it's my, from my point of view only. I'm a founder and president of a society of Aero. Okay,
Mhm.
so we are requesting like Prime Minister to declare Dr. Abdul Kalam birthday as National Aero Day. For the past 3 years, we are trying to approach government, various government
Mhm.
agencies also to have a National Aero Day. So, what is
Mhm.
the view you are having if we are asking for National Aero Day?
Uh, I mean, we are trying to celebrate one of the greatest scientists that
Yes,
we
October
have
15th.
ever had,
Yes, yes,
and there cannot be a reason to deny that.
yes.
But my view is, I don't think we should really go after a certification. We don't need a chapa.
Okay.
If we want to celebrate Abdul Kalam, it's Abdul Kalam, right?
Yes.
So if that is a Aero Day, let's go ahead and celebrate Aero Day. I
Um,
think
actually,
we don't have to go for that certification. It doesn't have to be that way.
yes,
So
yes, yes.
we.
That is the point is correct only.
Mm,
But actually, the way of aerospace promotion throughout our nation, right? So that is
mhm,
very less. If you see NASA or ESA or JAXA, whatever the space agencies, they are promoting the space science to the school's children, those who are at fifth standard or sixth standard level. They are promoting the
mhm,
space science. But in Indian perspective, right? We are not getting that opportunity to evolve. So if we have a particular day, right? So if government is declaring that particular day as a national aero day, so it may be like it can one day will be specially like this type of webinars also we can conduct. Our entire nation will celebrate that particular day for space science, right? So
mhm.
that's why we are like trying to get through it. We are conducting the signature campaign also,
Mhm.
so that's why I want to ask, what is your point of view in particularly over that?
Yeah, I think this is just my personal
Yes,
view.
yes.
I don't necessarily go with a lot of
Mm.
established definitions
Yes.
and all that
Mhm.
brand and so on.
Yes.
So I would like to see a hands-on approach.
Mm.
It's about taking Abdul Kalam's message to the younger minds. It's about
Yes.
raising awareness of this industry. We can do it in so many ways, and
Yes.
if it is about engaging the younger audience, then I
Mm.
think we need to make it a bit more fun.
Yes.
In the past it was quite difficult, but these days we have toys like drones. I don't know how far the regulations are going to allow us, but then there are so many ways we can engage the younger audience
Mm.
to raise awareness about this
Yes.
industry. But then it's us from within the industry actively doing it, that really matters, rather than having any kind of standard definitions and go from there. I think we need to start creating opportunities for people to participate.
Okay.
And however small this is, this webinar here, I think I wish I had a teacher who had thought like you. I
Mm.
did have, but at that time we did not have this web
Yes. Yes.
conferencing. It wasn't that we did not have access to that kind of capabilities back then. But then our teacher had the courtesy of inviting some of our seniors to our college,
Mm.
and then that would be the only chance where we get to hear from people. So what you are doing is already in that direction. Credits to you. I'm sure your students are lucky to have you there, but I think we need to just carry on with this practice, and then if it gets popular, it gets popular. That becoming a big trend has to be a consequence. We shouldn't really focus on the consequence. We need to focus on the causation. We need to take the aerospace brand to different minds. What is stopping us? Let's conduct such discussions. Let's bring many more people and
Okay.
have such discussions, put it out there, and take it from there. That
Yeah.
that would be my suggestion. So it's about doing rather than defining. Let's
Ah,
just
yes,
do
yes,
it.
yes, of course. That's what I want to do. Like, we are also doing that, but still, government support is also needed now, because when we want to celebrate in the entire way, we need government support. That's why we engaged particularly in that. We are trying for the last 3 years, so we will do it in this year also. So
Okay.
let's. I am also speaking with the Abdul Kalam family also. The same thing.
Mhm.
They told they want to support that, so we will look into that for a good thing. So another
Yeah,
question was,
I
yes, sir. Yes.
I think this just struck me as you said you are interacting with Abdul Kalam's family.
Yes,
That's very much appreciated. It's interesting to know that you're doing it. Abdul Kalam, from his scientific research experience, he would have worked across so many projects,
yes,
so many things. I'm sure there are things where those things. It's a long travel, right? There is no scientific research that comes to an end. So
yes,
there might be so many things which Abdul Kalam had started. It
yes,
wouldn't have been completed. Let's identify those. I don't know what they are, but
yes,
if we know Abdul Kalam was working on A, B, C, and D, A, B, and C got done. C and D, D and E are still left there. Let's pick those topics and essentially carry the baton from
yes,
Abdul
yes,
Kalam and
yes,
move
yes.
forward and
So
see where
one
we
of the
will go.
options you got told, na, C or D. That is 2020 India should be a developed country. So we are in the COVID situation. So I think young generation has to come up with a better solution rather than engaging in entertaining field. Most of our people have fallen trap in the entertainment field, right? So if they come up with a better idea, like if 100 student is there in a class, only near about 10 is focusing on the study and career, like either they want to develop a new thing or not, but remaining 90 is going into the entertainment field only. So that is one of the, not, it is not a bad thing. They will learn,
But
as if they are
I
having
can
passion, they will learn.
I can definitely relate to that. And if someone's so much interested in the entertainment field, let's say they like to make short films, yes, it's different from aerospace, their core area. I agree there, but I don't think it's a distraction. Have them make a short film on Abdul Kalam's achievements. Have them make a short film on the aerospace industry. Have there is so much
Yes, yes, yes,
comedy in aerospace industry that we don't realize. This
yes,
whole
yes,
regulatory framework and aviation safety.
yes,
Oh, this
yes,
was
yes,
signed. You get this clearance, your aircraft can fly. The aircraft is not safe because of a signature on a paper. The
yes,
aircraft is safe because the maintenance engineer does his job right.
yes, yes,
Okay, but the focus is, oh, did you get all these papers signed? Did you have
yes,
all these approvals? Approvals don't protect the aircraft. We have some aircrafts missing. We
mm,
haven't got those aircraft yet. We all had approvals
yes,
when they were flying. So there are so many perspectives. So if someone is interested in a certain domain, I think it's about establishing that diversity in their activity, because that is required for jobs these days. It might sound a bit odd, but then based on my because what we do is from within our business, we conduct webinars. So we
okay,
focus a lot. The reports that we write is of one format, and then we prepare a different set of slides for our webinars. And then there
okay,
are other video content that we prepare,
mm,
where we'll have to think about the target audience. There are podcasts that our company does, and there are so many ways of doing it. So the entertainment side, the non-technical side of it is not really a waste. But
okay,
those are opportunities where we can bring an aerospace perspective to it. If they want to make films, let them make a film on aerospace side
okay,
of things. And I think that's how we can. They really need that, and that I think that will allow the students also to think differently. We need that kind of perspective within the industry. We can't be working in silos. Those days are gone.
okay.
We can
I
say
think
I'm
your
A
screen
and
was
I will be.
yes, yes. Now it is live. Like your screen was frozen for 2 minutes.
Okay, okay,
Yes, I think internet
okay.
problem was there. Okay, no issue. And one of the question from Dev, in this current condition, like current situation, COVID-19, taking admission for MTech is better or doing job is better? Both are is not going to
It,
happen, I think, because the scenario
uh,
is looks like very bad in this situation.
I think in the current condition,
Yes,
remaining safe is the best
best
option.
option. Yes,
But then yeah, going for a job versus a higher degree, I would really suggest the education side of it, because uh, you know when you are in college, you are in that part of your life where you can afford to take time to get a degree, study something. Make the best use of this time to, and study as much as you want to
yes,
and as you can.
mm,
Getting a degree is a separate thing. You can just learn that. That's a very different approach. But then you might not have the opportunity to do a degree at any given time. later on. So but you would still be in a position to pick another job later on in your life. So I would suggest prioritize your education early on, because it's this brief period of time within which you can study. So make the best use of it, and then if you can get another degree, by all means get that.
Yes.
But then your journey really begins after that, what you do with that degree and
Yes.
so on. And this 2020 developed country, Abdul Kalam, that you just said, I want to bring that perspective, because we really need to have that perspective. It is 2020, we are not that
Yes.
developed. We still have our fellow citizens living in this country who haven't seen electricity for decades. You
Yes.
need to
Yes.
think about that.
Hmm.
There are people who haven't seen electricity, they haven't seen roads. There are so many people out there.
Yes.
And I can be complaining about bad roads, they haven't seen roads.
Roads.
So
Yes.
taking man to the moon is all there, but we are still having women holding the glucose bottles while their son or daughter is getting that IV. We don't have that rod in those hospitals.
Yes. Yes.
We need to have a broad based development across the board. And from wherever we are, we can contribute towards that. And I think, because the reason I'm saying this is, we are discussing with stakeholders who are going to be decision makers 10-15 years from now. You need to not do what people are currently doing.
Hmm.
It's a mix of do's and don'ts. So we need to have that perspective
Yes.
of what development is and how we are going to contribute.
Okay.
That's my view.
Actually, I will also give one suggestion to Dev. Like, he is asking like doing the MTech, right? So basically, when we are doing bachelors, we will be like enjoying the days actually, right? But when we are going into masters, somewhat we will be getting into the depth of the part, so we can like learn something. But there is one thing: if he is going into the job, he should not stop learning actually. So he can do part-time MTech or part-time master, any degree towards a part-time thing, so that he can get specialized in what he required. Okay, that's what I will suggest. So if he is getting job, and we can suggest that.
Absolutely, I cannot agree more. And what you said exactly fits what is required
Yes.
in the industry.
Yes.
Even after getting a job, I have done online courses. My seniors, my managers have done
Okay.
additional coursework, online classes, certifications,
Hmm.
and so on. So the learning never comes to an end. So
Yes.
it really doesn't come to an end.
Hmm.
But getting serious within masters, I have to differ there. When I was doing my masters, I was a part of the cricket club there. We used to have a lot of tournaments, had a
Yes.
lot of
Yes.
fun.
Yes. Yes.
And yes, have a diverse life, because you keep focus on just one thing.
Hmm.
That is going to our personal and professional lives are very much connected. It's
Yes.
hard to put that line and
Barrier.
say,
Yes. Barrier is.
yeah, what happens in my profession
Hmm.
flows into my personal life. What happens in
Yes.
my personal life flows into my profession.
Yes.
And the reason I'm saying this is, there were so many occasions where I have been involved in team building recruitment for quite a few years, and based on
Okay.
that experience,
Hmm.
on many occasions, when I essentially I would HR would do an interview, I would do an interview, we would shortlist candidates, and then we would have them do an assignment and set up interviews with our senior members within the
Okay.
business unit. We are talking vice presidents and above.
Hmm.
And so our seniors expect a certain amount of filter that is happening on our end.
Hmm.
They expect us to make sure we shortlist candidates relevant based
Hmm.
on their skill set, experience, and then
Okay.
present them.
Okay.
There were some cases where the candidate had a very strong resume.
Hmm.
There is no way I can match that even
Okay.
now.
Okay.
He definitely had more degrees.
Hmm.
He definitely had so many other skill sets that I haven't even heard of. A very strong candidate.
Okay.
And my question to him was, we were shortlisting for an aviation role,
Okay.
and my question to him was, this is by no means a strike at him. That's not how I would perceive this. This is my way of explaining the disconnect there. So my question to the candidate was, what do you think about the Indian aviation industry? So It was essentially to see how he thinks about a market, and
Yes.
then it was open-ended question. It can go anywhere.
Mm.
And so my question was, what do you think about the status of the Indian aviation industry?
Mm.
He started with apps are booming,
Okay.
and he went on for 5 minutes talking about things that I never heard of. He definitely knows more than I do, but then
Okay.
he did not use the word aviation. He did not. I asked him something. He kept on going confidently, talking about things without any relevance to that. That it was a big jump to me. I thought maybe I asked the wrong question. I
Okay.
rephrased that question.
Okay.
Again, he's going in some other. So the thing is, I think what happens is, and I have received this suggestion from a lot of senior members, friends,
Okay.
family, and so on. Like, whatever you say confidently. Please don't do that. I
Okay.
sincerely request to everyone on this call, confidence is a consequence after you confirm you are correct. Okay, so confidence is not a causation that, just because you are confident, if someone is going to believe you, they are wrong, they are taking a huge risk. Okay,
Mm.
confidence is a consequence. You don't have to be confident, but you have to be correct. So being correct is more important, being relevant is more important.
Yes.
And we all make mistakes. No one can know everything at all times.
Mm.
So do not go after that. So, and in so many other occasions, my seniors had asked me, Arun, you need to be a bit more stricter. This candidate shouldn't have been shortlisted. All of these, those are candidates with some, degrees from premier institutes,
Mm.
like institutes where I didn't even, I'm not even eligible to enter.
Okay.
I failed the entrance exams there. So that's the reason I shortlisted them. Hey, they are from a premier institute. If someone says, yeah, they're from there, then like the eyebrows go up, and then, oh boy, they are that graduates. And that's the reason we shortlist them. And as it turns out, they did not meet all the requirements. So that degree brand thing is also a mirage. So it's
Yes.
about your knowledge and understanding and how you present that based on your target audience. That is very, very relevant. And getting the fundamentals correct and being able to form an opinion based on fact.
Yes.
I think having that skill is very much required there.
Okay. Another question from Shiva Chawla. Is aeronautical students eligible to apply job in mechanical stream for government sectors? Is there any GO government order is there or not?
I think this comes back to our aero versus mechanical thing that we
Yes.
discussed earlier.
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure of the government provision.
Government, yes, there is no government order, there is no GO is there, but actually,
Yeah.
but we can apply. We because
I didn't know about that also.
when we are having a degree, degree certificate.
Mhm.
If your degree
Mhm.
certificate has been given with respect to under the faculty of mechanical engineering, then you can go for that.
Mhm.
Yes,
Uh, okay, I'm not the expert there, but
yes,
based on my observation, I think
they can
s-
apply, but
uh,
actually,
the key thing is,
yes,
my request to everyone on this call,
mm,
10-20 years from now, you
mm.
will be like very experienced senior members of
Yes, of course,
many
of
many
course,
organizations.
yes,
When you get there, treat all graduates equally.
yes, yes.
Don't have this mechanical aero civil
Aerospace.
disparity there.
Yes,
Like, it
yes,
will be aerospace organization,
yes.
400 posts, 350 is for mechanical. It's not, I'm not saying throw away mechanical, I'm
Ah,
saying,
yes, yes,
yeah, include everyone in your assessment. Whoever fits the bill takes the
yes,
role. But then
yes.
if you call yourself an aerospace organization and only 20% is aero graduates, then
That is the worst
it
thing.
doesn't.
Actually,
The reason is,
mm,
those organizations, the senior members there
mm,
come from that civil architecture background. See,
yes,
40-50 years ago, we didn't have so many aeronautical
yes,
programs.
yes,
We
yes,
didn't
yes,
have so many so they were civil engineers, PhD in
yes,
civil, who would be like the head of that. And so
yes.
for them,
Civil
civil is
engineer,
all, those structural guys are the only ones who build the aircraft structure.
aircrafts.
That's
Yes.
that's not true. And that is the reason why it's happening. I think those things need to change.
Mm.
But I don't think they are going to change on their own. We have to make that
Yes,
change. So my
yes, yes,
request
yes,
is, when you guys get there, please
yes,
remember this and
yes,
make
yes.
that change.
Sure, sure, sure. And I think Dr. Sangaran, is that your professor? Dr.
Oh yeah,
Dr. Sankaran Armugam.
he's there on this call.
Yes, yes, he's asking your phone number actually.
Oh my, Dr.
I
Shankar, very happy to hear your coconut is ready to speak with you.
Yes,
I can definitely
he mentioned that
suggest
he
that
seems
number.
that you seems to be his student, one of his student. He mentioned about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I just mentioned I had one of my professor who would bring seniors to our college,
Yes,
whom we would speak.
yes,
This is
yes,
that
yes.
professor who did that. So, Dr. Shankaran, thank you for doing that.
Okay, surely I will share that. You have told your mail ID also, right? So I will
Yeah,
share
yeah, yeah,
with them.
yeah.
They will be good to
Yeah,
know.
absolutely.
Yes,
I'll message Kishan
yes,
my mobile number. Yes.
yes, yes. Sure. Again, another Ankit Diore. What skills one should have to enter aviation industry in India? Again, they are speaking about skills. I think they are entering in the middle of the sessions,
Mhm,
so they
mhm.
are asking the same. I request those who are want to know about the skills. We have spoken a lot about that in the previous time also. You can switch back to the uh, older. You can scroll little bit forward, backward, sorry. So another one is like I have been working on numerical analysis of combustion using open foam for more than 1 year. Same, what are the opportunities in this field from academic and industry perspective?
To
Open
be
foam.
honest, I'm not an expert in that domain,
Mm, mm.
and I really cannot answer that in much detail.
Yes.
What I would really suggest is reach out to people who are working in
Mm,
such areas. I can definitely offer this help of connecting them.
mm.
Some of my classmates who have worked in these analysis areas, some of them still do.
Okay.
So, my email is arunes@frost.com.
Mm.
And then, connect with me on LinkedIn, and then send me a message. I would be happy to connect you with them so you
Okay.
can have these questions addressed. To be honest, I'm not the expert in that domain. I
Yes.
really cannot talk about how a numerical analysis role will evolve. But if you haven't asked the question as such as what would be required, I would suggest reach out to people who are in those roles
Yes.
and ask them what they do and what is expected from them, and then that would give you an idea of how you can position yourself for such a role.
Okay, I will answer to that question particularly. Like there are some people, those who are with DRDO and ISRO, they are working in this particular project. Like he is asking about, told about numerical analysis of combustion. So they are working in that particular field. So we will be surely arranging next webinars also, where we will be calling DRDO and ISRO scientists also. Already we have engaged in three webinars with ISRO scientists. So probably they will answer to this type of question. So when those kind of people are coming, you can ask those things. So I think that's it. We can end the session, right? So it's already been 1.5 hours. It is going to be 1.5 hours for us. I hope there is no other question is available to ask. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Arun Kumar, sir, for your time. You have shared your experience with us. Surely, as we have told before, if our student, anyone is interested in this to work in your particular aerospace analyst, I will ask them to contact you for the internships. So once the internship was done very well, right? So we can do a collaborative project with our Chandigarh University also. Like I will send the students of sixth semester when everything COVID 19 is like cleared and everything is fine. I will send the sixth semester students towards this particular aerospace analyst. So you can have a little bit training. Then we can ask him to do some small projects. Then we will get overall idea for that.
Yeah, again, thanks for considering me for this discussion. I had a great time. In fact, I had an opportunity to interact with one of my professors, Dr. Sankaran.
Yes.
I didn't expect this would even happen. So thanks to Kishan for arranging this. opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, you have my email. Connect with me via LinkedIn. Any
Yes.
questions, any given time, feel free to reach out.
Sure. Sure.
You might get a delayed response, but I can assure you, you will get a response.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
But in terms of internships, yes, please feel forward to send all the resumes. I will forward it to HR. But
Mhm.
then the HR team really is the process owner in terms
Yes.
of
Yes. Yes.
recruitment.
Yes.
So when and how that will materialize, they are the best suited person to answer in that regard.
Yes.
I would definitely submit the resumes and forward it to them.
Yes.
But
Sure.
what happens after that is something beyond the scope of my role.
Yes. 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 I can understand.
So I can definitely help you liaise there and share
Yes.
the resumes.
Yes.
They are always looking forward to have such interactions with.
Yeah.
In
Sure.
terms of the collaborative projects, again, please do send me more information in terms of how the aerospace program at Chandigarh University would like to interact with us. I'll share that again with my seniors,
Yes. Sure.
as
Sure.
they are the key decision
Yes. Yes.
makers,
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
then we will see how that goes.
Yeah.
But then
Sure.
again,
Sure. Sure. We will
thanks for
make a
accepting.
draft and we will forward to you, and we will have a, if
Mhm.
required, we will request you to come for a to give a presentation in the university also after COVID-19 is over. So if like right now, be safe, and I request all the viewers over there and listeners and students, please be safe, and don't stop learning. Keep learning. Use the time. This is the time where you can use, especially to grow your self. Right? Self development can be done in this time, so you can go for that. Yes. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, all
Thank
right.
you very much.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for your time.
Yes.
Stay safe.
Yes. I am signing off.